moms. I have two incredible guests for you today, Veronica Bovenzi and Erika Neal. First, the mission of Two Mom is to Love is to support, encourage, and empower each other as imperfect moms to love as a verb. Join us and subscribe, share, and follow. Welcome to our community. My awesome guests, Veronica and Erika, are on the show with me today to talk about the concept of havening, as well as the book that they just co-published for children called Auntie Rosa's Magic Hugs. This story is a guide to the interesting concept of havening and all of its benefits. Welcome, Veronica and Erika. Thank you so much for being with me on the show today.
Thank you for letting us be here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure. So I am going to talk about the introduction of both of you guys here, because I want to make sure that our listeners hear all of the amazing things that you guys have done up until writing this book. And I will start with introducing Erika. And Erika is a psychotherapist, and she's a trainer specializing in treating trauma and teaching methods for managing stress and strengthening positive emotional states. Prior to becoming a full-time therapist, Erika was a lawyer for abused and neglected children for 7 years, as well as a school social worker for 15 years. And Veronica, her bio is very interesting as well. She's a coach and a hypnotherapist. She teaches havening techniques along with other self-help tools that can empower children and teens to better manage their emotions. So the fact that I have two co-authors here with me on the show, I'm going to ask both of them questions, and I'm going to start first with Erika. Erika, can you tell us a bit about yourself and any information that you would like to share with our listeners?
Yes, so I'm a psychotherapist and I work with people that are experiencing difficult times in their life. They're anxious, they're depressed, they're going through kind of a tough transition. And I work with them to help them feel better by self-regulation tools and also by addressing any traumatic things that have happened to them in the past as children or also currently. I do work with a lot of moms who are having a lot of stress with raising their children, and maybe it's bringing up some trauma from their past. And I'm always looking for techniques to show them so that they can regulate themselves when they're feeling overwhelmed.
That's awesome. I love that. And that's so important to be able to do those things. And I want to talk with you about this concept of havening. You guys first introduced me to this concept, and I think it's so interesting and fascinating and seems to have so much benefit.
Yeah, I was always on the lookout for techniques that are easy to do by clients on their own, and then also that I can do with them in the therapy session. And I've done a lot of mindfulness techniques and also something called EMDR and tapping. But when I found havening, I was just really struck by how simple and effective and pleasant it was to do. It's a technique that's really pleasing, and yet you can address some very difficult traumas and feelings with it. But you don't have to focus on the traumas. You can focus on the soothing quality of havening. And havening is a psychosensory therapy, meaning that you use sensory information to make yourself feel better. And the sense that we use with havening is touch. So I can show you a little bit about how havening works so that you can feel it yourselves.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So havening consists of 3 places of touch. The first place is the hands, which we rub as if you're putting lotion on your hands, just kind of back and forth where you're covering your palms. You're putting lotion on the palms of your hands, say. Right. The second place is from your shoulders to your elbows in a downward sweep, as if you're petting a cat or a dog, like a brush stroke like that in one direction from shoulder to elbow. A little bit. Shoulder to elbow. And then you don't go up, you just go in a downward sweep, like a caress. And then the last place is the face, which is as if you're washing your face. And if you have glasses, you can work around it, or you can take them off, whatever feels comfortable for you. You can do part of your face like your forehead or your cheeks, or you could just do the whole face. Again, like either you're washing your face or you're putting lotion. And when you do havening, you just go between these 3 locations of touch as you'd like, just a little bit of time on each one. If there's a place you don't like, you can leave it out. And it's supposed to be a very soothing touch, like a massage, basically.
That's
So
very
that's just part
interesting.
of havening. And when you do havening touch, while you're doing havening touch, you keep the mind busy with something else so that you're not focused on something stressful. So while you do the touch, you might hum a song, for example, or count by multiples like 5, 10, 15, 20, or even name items like in a category like girls' names from A to Z. You do something so that you're keeping your mind busy that's pleasant. And that way it doesn't dwell on distress and it actually can change the way you're feeling about the thing that was bothering you. So when I'm with a client, when Veronica and I are with a client, we have the people bring up the distress and then do the havening touch, and then we do a distraction with them, like humming or counting, or we ask them, let's hum Row Your Boat together, or can you count from 0 to 30 by threes, or can you tell me 5 different kinds of bagels? I mean, it could be anything. And you do it, whatever the client likes. But when you're on your own, you can do the same kind of thing. You can do the humming and the counting and the naming items and categories to soothe yourself. And what's kind of nice about havening too is you can do it like in the classroom. A teacher can lead a class in havening touch and then have them go through the months of the year, for example, or learning any kind of lesson or spelling, because it's something they can do while learning. And havening causes the brain waves to calm down to delta waves, the calmest brain waves, and those are very good for learning and memorization. And havening also produces serotonin and oxytocin, which are very feel-good neurochemicals, and it also reduces stress hormones. So in all of these ways, havening is very healthy for the brain and body, and it also helps with learning. So
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's really nice. So it's a really nice technique to use in therapy, but also just generally for self-help.
I love that. That's incredible. And I think as you're talking about it, I feel like I maybe have just done some of that naturally, like my brain and body, like almost like wanted to do that.
And you could do it in a way that people don't see so well. You could like rub your hands, or sometimes people might even rub their hands on their pants or the legs. If they can't do the hands, it's another way they could do it, because if you rub your palms, that helps. And actually, if you can't do any touch, if you imagine havening touch, it also can produce that effect.
And you had said, I think that's an important point, that like you go in one motion, because I think sometimes I would go like this and that would make me more stressed out. Like
Exactly. It's so activating if you do that, like you're shivering.
So that's a good point. Well, that's great. And thank you for showing us that, because I think that's so helpful, that visual to see as well. And so, Erika, why is it important in general, do you feel like, to address trauma and promote these type of self-help and regulating tools?
So trauma can really hold a person back from living a free life where they're really fully expressing themselves. Trauma can cause people to get triggered very easily, and then they get stuck in these old reactions that is very difficult to break out of. And it's amazing how much healing can happen when you use a technique like havening. It can help a person break out of a pattern that they've been trapped in for decades. So a lot of work that we do as therapists and hypnotherapists is to resolve trauma. And also having tools to regulate yourself are really important, because all of us get overwhelmed at times. Either we get like very activated, or we get depressed, we kind of shut down a little bit, and it's very difficult to remain in balance all the time. So it's nice to have a way that's quickly effective in getting you back to kind of a homeostasis and equilibrium. And havening is exceptional because it does both trauma resolution and self-help too. You can use it for both purposes. And there also, I'd say too, that there's a lot of videos on havening. So if you want to have it guided, you can always search havening on YouTube, for example, and do it along with somebody.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, Erika, remind me, where does the term havening come from?
Oh, that's right. So havening comes from the term haven, meaning safe haven, a safe place. Because the point of havening is to put you in an internal safe place, regardless of what's happening around you, like an oasis of safety.
And safety is so important in those moments.
Havening is fantastic at creating a feeling of safety, like the physiology of safety. It makes your body relax. It makes your breathing slow down and be fuller. It makes you feel less tense. it creates a physical feeling of safety.
That's wonderful. It reminds me, and this isn't really in humans, but it just makes me think of my dog recently, how there was a thunderstorm, and you know how dogs get kind of scared, and she was shaking a bit, and like I was just petting her, and you could tell she wanted to be close, and I was petting her. It's almost like makes me feel like it's giving a little havening to the dog. Is that
Yes.
something that, I mean, it's almost
Definitely,
seems like,
so it kills two birds with one stone. Like I had people who are worried about their pet and they're also worried themselves. And I tell
yeah,
them, just do havening on your dog, because that will help your dog and you help your dog get better and help you feel less anxious.
that's
Mhm.
great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That's so interesting, and I think it's such an interesting concept. And I know that you both wrote a book about this, and I want to talk some more about your awesome book. Veronica, I would love for you to share with us a bit
Mhm.
more about this amazing book that you both had co-authored together.
Sure, sure. It's going to be a pleasure. So the book, as you said, is called Auntie Rosa's Magic Hugs, a story about havening. And it's a book that, in a very simple and easy way, teaches havening to children. And it does it through telling the story of this young girl, Maya, whose life changed a lot when she moved to a new town with her parents. She started feeling different. She used to be happy, and now after moving, she's not happy anymore. Kids in a new school don't seem to want to be her friends, and she thinks there's something wrong about her. She puts it on herself, and she doesn't know how to explain her mom what's going on inside. She probably doesn't know. And things change when her auntie from out of town comes, Auntie Rosa, comes to visit, and she teaches her havening. She makes her feel better just by giving her arm havening, or just rubbing her hands, and she just feels amazed about how good she feels. So she starts asking questions, and the auntie shows her how to use it before going to school, so she doesn't get her tummy aches that she used to get, or in school if something upsets her. So like that, she starts feeling safer. She starts feeling calmer even in school, and her life changes. So it's a very nice story, and probably many kids or teenagers also, but mostly kids are gonna identify with these new emotions. There's nothing wrong about them, and they can learn how to feel better in spite of what's going on around them. And what is also interesting about our book is that there is a section at the end about for parents and educators. So adults can learn more about havening, about the origin, the people who developed this self-help tool, and also the science behind havening, and also how to use it with their children, and also with classes in case of educators and teachers. So it's a very complete book, and at the same time, it's very simple to read. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It sounds like, and that's great that there's all those resources in the book where it's very simple, but also packed with just such great information.
Yes.
I love that. And Veronica, I want to ask you, how has being a mom shaped your identity?
Oh, it completely changed the person I am, actually. So as you all know, becoming a mother is the most amazing and also difficult journey we embark on, and it's going to last for all our life. But what happened to me when I was a young mother, a new mother, let's say, I started reacting. I thought I was a very happy and quiet and calm person, but with my children, they started pushing all my buttons. So I started being triggered by things I didn't even know triggered me, that I never had to deal about. So at that point, I had a choice. Either I could become the authoritarian mother that I had, but I was scared of my mother. She's a loving mother. She's still, the best mother I could ever wish for. But her ways didn't align with my values. I wanted to be a different kind of mother. So I started looking inside myself and growing. I wanted to grow. I wanted to become a better person, to be able to, I wanted to be the mother because I was reacting as a child. One of them is more, I say she's more she expresses herself more. I don't say she's difficult, but she was really reacting to me and I was reacting to her and she would react. And you know how things escalate sometimes, both of us screaming and you don't know anymore who's the mother or who's the child. And I didn't like myself. I really didn't like the way I was reacting to my children. So I started learning new things. I started reading a lot. And then in the attempt to heal myself, I learned hypnosis. You know, when you want to heal others, it's mostly because you want to heal yourself. So I learned hypnosis, and then I learned EFT too. And you know, I wanted to learn more and more tools to help myself, and at the same time help my my clients. Once I started seeing clients as a hypnotherapist. And yeah, that is how I became the person I'm today. And I know that I'm going to have to work on myself until the last day I'm on earth. So that is what my children really helped me grow and made me aware that who had to change was myself first, for them to become even calmer children. And that's the whole point, you know, calmer. They say anxious parents gives an anxious kids, but it's also true that calmer parents is going to help kids calm down, become calmer kids. Yeah.
Those are such good points. I mean, I totally agree with all of that, because it is like they are watching and they're learning, and they're learning so much more by our actions, I feel like sometimes, than by anything that we're saying, and they're watching us all the time. And same, it's so easy. I think that's such a good point. Like you said about, it was almost like your child was there arguing with your children. And that takes time, it takes work, and it takes awareness. And I can see how techniques like havening can help in those moments.
Yeah, and even if your kids don't want to know about it, like I have 3 children and 2 of them like it, and one of them just looks at me, it's like, no. But just seeing me, hey, sometimes, you know, we're starting a conversation that is more difficult, and I go like, I think I'm gonna have, and then he goes like, oh, and he goes away. But I can see that he realized that I react differently than I used to. I could have gotten upset before for the same kind of discussion, but now I'm just trying to put some humor in our conversation, or, you know, trying to approach him in a different way. And that changes the old interaction with our kids.
That's such good points. I think that's wonderful. And yeah, I mean, it is like every child's different, but they're seeing us doing it. They're seeing us working on it, and the results of all this continued effort. That's awesome. Now, Veronica, where can we find your book and all the resources that you have?
Okay, so our book can be found on Amazon.com, and now we're gonna have it. We got it translated into French and Italian for if anybody's interested. But you know, the original language is English, so it's on Amazon. It's available as a Kindle edition, Kindle format, and a paperback. And well, me and Erika, to know more about both of us, my website is veronicabovenzi.com, so my first and last name.com. And for Erika is Erika Neal, so first and last name.com. Those are our websites. Yeah.
That's great. And I'll include all of that in the show notes. And is there anything else, Veronica or Erika, that you would like our listeners to hear about before we wrap up here?
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to say that havening is great to use like as a parent on yourself, and it's also good to teach your kids how to do it so they can do it on themselves. But something that's very special is when you do havening on your own children, because it really helps with the bond. I mean, for one thing, it's letting them know that you care how they feel. and you want them to feel better. And secondly, it communicates a lot of love, just the touch. And, you know, you'd be surprised. I mean, I've used it on my kids are now older, they're teenagers, but I've used it on my son when he's anxious about a test, to make him feel better. And I've suggested that he use it on himself. Like when he was taking the SAT, imagine feeling confident while he did havening.
Yeah.
Then also when my daughter had, she had she had a reaction to the COVID vaccine and she was very sick. And I lay down next to her and I was doing havening on her face and her arm, and it really helped her feel better. I mean, it helped, like it took away some of her nausea. So you'd be surprised how many opportunities there are to do havening with your child and to help them do it, encourage them to do it too, so that they find it very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that, Erika. I've seen the same with my children. And I would also add that, you know, if you're interested in havening and you want to read our book, or, you know, you want to try it, give it a try for a little bit, you know, try it in different moments of the day. Try it whenever you have even 1 minute to yourself. Sometimes I used to lock myself in the bathroom when the kids were younger, the only place where they couldn't come in, and just haven a little bit and sing a song or think about something nice, something that makes you feel positive, and do it, give it a try, like use it, and you'll see that little by little getting calmer, or getting, you know, how do you say, stopping whatever is triggering you, happens faster and faster. You know, the more you use it, the more you can see the benefits faster. So yeah.
And the book also has a lot of different ways to use havening. It's good for children, but also adults. There's some ways to use it. For example, if you want to enhance a good feeling, like you want to be calm, you can do havening while you say calm, 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 or confident, confident, confident. And it increases the feeling that you want to have. There's some really like cool ways that you can use havening for different purposes. And like I said, even if you can't, even if you can't do it because you're in a place where it's kind of, they would see you, you can even imagine that you're doing havening while you're thinking these things, like confident, confident, confident. Like before you do a recording, just saying that and imagining havening or doing havening, it's really good. It primes you to feel better. And I want to say too that the website havening.org has resources on it. And also, if you want to find a practitioner, like a therapist that does havening, you can find it on that website.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, Veronica and Erika, thank you so much for sharing all of these interesting topics of havening and all of its benefits. I mean, I learned so much from you guys. Be sure to check out Auntie Rosa's Magic Hugs by Veronica Bovenzi and Erika Neal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.